We all know that tech industry runs on one thing, innovation. But here's the real question, the billion-dollar one: how in the world do you actually measure it? Well, today we're going to dive into some incredible new research that created a tool to do exactly that. And it connects corporate innovation to something even bigger: sustainable social development.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To understand the solution, we first have to wrap our heads around the problem, what the researchers call the innovation puzzle.
Just think about that for a second. How do you measure it? Innovation feels like this magical spark, right? Lightning in a bottle. But here's the reality check. In a world that runs on data, if you can't measure something, you can't manage it, you can't improve it, and you sure can't train people for it. And that is the giant puzzle this research set out to solve. And this puzzle leads us to a massive clash happening in the tech world. On one side, you have this relentless, growing demand for people who can truly innovate. But on the other side, there's a huge shortage of professionals who actually have those skills. It's a classic supply and demand crisis, and it's hitting the industry hard. And look, this isn't just giving recruiters a headache. The fallout from this gap is serious. We're talking about brain drain, where the best talent has to move away to find opportunities. We see a major disconnect, where universities aren't quite teaching what the industry actually needs. And the big picture result? It holds back the entire economy and even hurts our collective social well-being. So this is way bigger than just one company's problem. It's a problem for all of us.
So, the problem is clear. But the really exciting part is that these researchers didn't just point out the problem. They rolled up their sleeves and built a solution. They set out to create a better yardstick to actually measure innovation.
And this is it. It's called a socioformative rubric. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but just think of it like a really detailed report card for a company's innovation training. It's a scoring tool that looks at how well a company is actually setting its people up to innovate, all while keeping that bigger picture of sustainable development in focus.
So what exactly is on this report card? Well, it grades 11 different areas. For instance, is the company actually networking and collaborating with other innovators? Are employees getting real rewards for thinking outside the box? Is the day-to-day work set up in a way that encourages new ideas? It even looks at whether promoting a second language like English is used as a tool to tap into global innovation. Pretty comprehensive, right? Of course, building a cool new tool is one thing. Proving it actually works, that's the real challenge. So the researchers put this rubric through an absolutely grueling testing process to make sure it was rock solid, scientifically speaking. And you can just see how thorough they were. This wasn't a weekend project. It was a 6-phase journey. They started by reviewing what tools were already out there. Then they designed and built their own. It got refined by industry experts, validated by 15 expert judges, put through a pilot test, and then they did a full-scale analysis with 113 professionals. That is how you do rigorous science. And get this, that final step wasn't just some abstract academic test. No way. The 113 people who participated were real-world IT professionals from the front lines at companies you might have heard of, like Microsoft, Amazon, and Oracle. This makes sure the tool isn't just good in theory, it's grounded in reality. So, who were these 15 experts who gave the rubric the stamp of approval? Well, take a look. The overwhelming majority, 73%, were directors, people with hands-on, in-the-trenches experience, balanced out by academics. This mix of street smarts and book smarts is what gives this whole process so much credibility. Okay, so the tool was built, it was tested by the best of the best. Now for the moment of truth. Did it work? What was the final verdict?
This one number pretty much says it all, 0.947. That's the rubric's Cronbach's alpha score. Now, if you're not a statistician, all you need to know is that any score over 0.8 is considered great. A score this close to 1.0, that is absolutely exceptional. It means the tool is incredibly reliable and consistent.
And if you're a visual person, this model from the study shows you the same thing. It confirms that all 11 of those different criteria they measured all point back to one single core concept: innovation. The tool is laser-focused, it's cohesive, and it flat out works. So, the conclusion from all this research is simple and powerful. This rubric has solid, undeniable proof that it's valid and reliable. It's an accurate tool, and it's ready to be put to work. Okay, so it's an accurate tool, which is great for scientists. But why should you care? Let's talk about the real-world impact here. Why does this whole thing actually matter? This quote from the study really gets to the heart of it. The data showed a direct line.
Professionals who got better training and innovation and had more experience also reported being in a better place financially. So better training doesn't just help the company, it helps the employee too. It's good for your career and your wallet.
And that means the practical uses for this tool are huge. Companies can finally use it to diagnose exactly where their training is falling short. HR departments can make smarter, more strategic decisions. And maybe, just maybe, it can finally help close that gap between what colleges are teaching and what the industry actually needs, all while pushing us toward those bigger, sustainable development goals.
And all of this leaves us with one last really fascinating thought. They've proven we can reliably measure something as complex and fuzzy as innovation training. So if we can do that, what other supposedly unmeasurable skills are next? Critical thinking, leadership, adaptability? This might have just opened a door to a whole new way of thinking about talent.
Everything we've covered today is based on the 2025 paper titled Sustainable Social Development and Digital Technology Enterprises, Rubric Validation to Evaluate Innovation. If you really want to geek out on the data, you can find the full study published by the Autonomous University of Baja California. Thanks for tuning in.